Sound check for my speaking. How does that sound, Rome Dog? Sal A. Give me a 1 if the voice sounds okay. We'll cut the music all the way. I kind of wish I could play music all the time, but it's overwhelming. Let's put it like that. Wow. Okay. Let me just hear myself. Sal A. Give me a 1. Yeah, I hear myself. And I'm looking at the sounds. I think I could be a little louder. Let's put that up. How about now? I could be closer to the microphone. What's wrong with this thing? Yeah, I feel like it's a little muted. What do you think? It won't even go into the red. That's not right. Let me make sure that I'm on the right microphone just to double check. Because I wanted this to sound good. I thought I sounded pretty good. Let me turn my microphone just to... I feel like I'm not sounding good. What's wrong? I wanted this to sound just to... Let's make sure that the microphone... I wanted this to sound just to... Says here... Make sure... Yeti, right? Says the input volume's like 8. What's up with that, huh? Now it should be louder, right? What was up with that? All right, I think it's better. Sally, am I too loud now? Right? 8. Wow. Louder, right? What was up with that? Am I too loud now? Wow. 8. That's a big difference. Yeah, I like to play good music. Unfortunately, in this type of setting, it has to be non-copyright sound. So NCS. I have a big collection, but I don't really have them all set up ready to go. All right. Looks like we're, I think we're sounding probably pretty loud. Ready to go. All right. And let's see. Got everything else lined up. So let's get this started. I live in the desert in California. That was just yesterday or something like that. I take pictures. I don't have my fine. I'm gonna have to turn this. I don't want to be looking at myself the whole time. Let's just stop that video. I'll be watching the continue to live. I'm sorry. Yeah, live chat. Let me just kill that. There we go. A small echo. Yeah, that's because I was playing the microphone. I was playing the desktop. Yeah, I was just testing it and listening to myself. Thank you for the thumbs up. Okay, I do live in the desert. And that's where I am kind of now. But where I started was in a world with UFOs and Bigfoot and taken to Mexico. This is the temple of Quetzalcoatl. And that's my beginning. I lived in Guatemala, so I did have some exposure to Latin American ancient history. I didn't understand it. We didn't have the internet. I mean, I learned Chinese in the military. I went to Angkor Wat 2 times. This is the first trip. Back when I was using a still camera, like with film. And the main temple. This is the second trip. I think we were using digital, not very good digital. I mean, look how fat it makes me look. That's better, but I was still ignorant, as I've said. I'm still kind of worried about the sound. Let's see if I can just refresh it. Even playing. Okay, I've probably shown these a few times already. About the sound. There we go. Okay, sounds good now. I can't believe it was down to 8% for some reason. Just bizarre. Just bizarre. I didn't make that change. I wouldn't have done that I know of. I probably did. So this is what we learned in the military. I should have put this right after the military. This is how we learned about geography in the military. So we knew these terms. And, you know, for me to talk about geography was tough. So now we have the internet, luckily, because we can look it up. We can all look it all up. But do we know what to look up? Now, yeah, plateau, mesa, monument, butte. I just went to Butte. You can see the crack. But speaking of buttocks, look at the curvature of this arch. I mean, it's a football field long. And I'm going to stop the playback. I think that my internet's really slow. So I'm just glad that nobody's complaining. I'll just keep going. I'm going to do the Richat structure tonight. But what I just want to say is when you see arches like this that are the length of football fields doing that right there is impossible for nature to just not just take care of it. Okay, there's a difference in natural stuff. And this is important for the Richat presentation. We have a line here in this meme. I added the red circle, which is our current equator. Can you imagine if it just shifted over? So we had a previous equator. You know, we've got, look at the fuse on this ancient surgery on this elongated skull. Something was going on. Okay, I'm going to minimize this. I'm not getting any chats. I think you can go ahead and chat. I'll look in a second. This is old stuff. This is from Graham Hancock, as far as I'm concerned. And we do know that the Younger Dryas has given us something called these Carolina Bays. So I do believe that this is actually later, so this is kind of misplaced in my presentation. I was going to talk about Randall Carlson and what I learned from him. And, of course, sacred geometry is essential. The idea that uniformitarianism may not be true. Cataclysms, right? If there's any argument for future cataclysms, it's what Randall Carlson has shown us. And, of course, the fact that some buildings were built okay, what's the word I'm looking for? Not geodetic? Yeah, geodetically arranged on the planet. So this building actually is connected with the planet. And so is the pyramid, of course, we know. So many ways as well. it shows us the number of seconds in a day, in half a day actually. And the vernal equinox is demonstrated with the, look at it, shows 8 sides here. But the red line, of course, is the equator, and the blue line is the other diameter of the Earth from the polar diameter, right? So we learned the size, the size of the Earth is implanted in the pyramid. So this is what I learned from Randall Carlson. I've learned some other stuff, like the speed of light is there too. And also the 9 constants, the math constants. And that's amazing because it connects the meter to the foot and the cubit in this pyramid. It's very interesting. Check out the video that I just showed you, the screenshot too. The vernal equinox as well in the Great Pyramid. It really has 8 sides, but you can only see it during vernal equinox apparently, when it shows you half of a lit day and half of a dark 24-hour period, and each side is 43,200 seconds each. And it's just amazing how that is shown. So we have some ancient history. We have lost technology, advanced technology. And I'm checking the chat right now. Anybody? Nobody? Where are we? I'm going to refresh it because I don't trust YouTube. Okay. Still no. Okay, let's see. It changed the numbers. All right. Let's I'm going to minimize that again because it's distracting. Over here, I'd like to minimize it. It's distracting. Should I have done that? Let me put that back up. I don't like the way it goes across the screen like that. So 12 years ago or so, wait, no, more than 12, right? Actually, it was 2008. I started to find a lot of weird stuff on Google Earth. And, of course, the Eye of Africa was one of the first things I saw. Before Jimmy, however, Jimmy did inform us about the Herodotus connection, didn't he? And now he's doing so much more. I just watched his live stream tonight. President was shot, right? Or our future president. And with that shot that he did with the photograph, you know it's a sure thing now. Okay, so I guess I've got a red light with the OBS. It means bad connection, but I'm done with this crap. Jimmy also pointed out what we call the castle. I went there. So it is amazing that I can say I've been to the Richat structure 3 times now. Okay? Before I ever went back in Taiwan when I was destitute, I didn't have any money to go to anywhere. I started to study this, and Jimmy was putting out his videos, so we were all excited about it. There's a couple I need to add. I thought I had it. Aristotle, right? Socrates. They're missing from this. But the main important thing is to see the difference between Solon and Plato. It was Plato that wrote about Atlantis, but Solon was the one who Plato took all his information from. And don't think it's a telephone game. It was his diary, which Plato claimed to have had in his possession. So there's a few things we'd like to talk about. The fact that he did write an impassable barrier of mud. That's something you don't have out in the middle of the Atlantic. Is it Mike Parker? I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure it's Mike Parker gave this to me. He gave me the exact proportions of Atlantis overlapped on the Richat structure with a slight ellipse or a skew to the circles, and I thought that was pretty cool because they lined up almost perfectly. Now, don't forget, Plato wrote that Atlantis was 4 times smaller than what the Richat structure measures out to. But the location, now this is really important. Plato put Spain in the story. Plato put Spain in the Atlantis story. This was Atlantis right here, okay? And Morocco is probably what was referred to as Libya, really. But we have this Tamanrasset River, and that really separated the Libya side from the Atlantis side. Now, that's more recent stuff, so it could have still been Atlantis. I'm not saying that Libya wasn't Atlantis, especially with the story Plato wrote. Also, Michael Hubner puts Atlantis right there in Morocco. You can look at his paper. I have the link right there. So the Sumasa area, so it's right below Gadiz. Plato wrote about it. Sumasa. Now, Plato also wrote about diverse islands out in the open sea. Hola, Foxcoit. Hola, Sol A. We're just doing a quick update, and I'm kind of killing some time trying to get some people in here. I'm not sharing this, so it's just basically an update, and it's also to kind of test the equipment, because I had a problem the other day. So we've gone through all this already, but I do want to update on every detail of the shot right now. It's 10 p.m. where I'm at, so maybe we're going to get a different audience tonight. So I'm looking forward to your comments. All right, so Plato wrote about islands in the open sea in contrast to the country within the Pillars of Hercules. So this Tamanrasset basically separated this idea, but of course we were raised with the old way. We don't have this Atlantis story in our school, right? The Tamanrasset was a real river, Tamanrasset. I say Tamanrasset, but you know, sometimes it's good to emphasize the way things are said. Tamanrasset was a major river, okay, and it went out right there. This is fact. And of course, this is a paleo river, so it no longer exists. But we do see. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention Atlas Mountains. Yeah, that's the main part of the story, right? The Atlas Mountains is a main part of this story. See, I need to put this in the presentation, but King Atlas of Mauritania was most likely a descendant of this ancient Atlas, King Atlas, son of Poseidon, whoever that was. But we have an old story here, don't we? And we can't just say, oh, Atlas Mountains, that's just a, coincidence. Oh, don't forget those ancient paleo lakes as well. Okay, so we do have a lot to be said about this. Is the Maghreb Lake. I've seen it oriented many different ways, but it was probably one of the major servers of the Tamanrasset. Not just that. I mean, you have a lot of other mountains going through. Not big, huge, tall mountains right here. It's quite flat over here, in my opinion. Also, let's talk about the Piri-Reis map a little bit. It also shows this over here, and it shows very clearly. I mean, you can't argue with this shoreline right here. You can see very clearly Cape Verde, Cape Blanco, Cape Myrick. They're all there. And this island here, it kind of is possibly the shoal of mud. Some people think that was the shoal of mud. I don't think you're going to go up 200 miles up a river and then say a shoal of mud. Now, maybe look at this, there's no land here in the Piri-Reis map. You see a river going this way and stopping, and a bird, and was that a rabbit or a cat? But over here, you also can see two circular water structures. I mean, the Piri-Reis map, okay? Now, we do have ancient trade routes going through there. You can see Wadan right there. But this is kind of after everything dried up. So it's not that relevant, but I want you to know there is a history, and there is a major trade route history that goes back older than our written history, prehistory. Now, if you want to know what I think that the big red thick line is the Tamanrasset River. Don't forget, it went out, and this is the old shore before the 400-foot water rise from the whatever cataclysm. I mean, we have, of course, the over in Canada, the two ice sheets, but what about over Europe? What did we have? Did we have an ice sheet? Some people are saying that the ice sheet was actually the Atlas Mountains themselves had its own ice sheet. I'm not really into theorizing and saying things, but what I do believe is there was a body of water here. This is the Richat structure. I do believe the Tamanrasset was a major river, but we also had another river right here, and I think we have evidence for that, and we also have evidence for water over here. Basically, there's these canal clusters. Those, if you want to know exactly where they are, they're right over here. Right there. So we have these canals that used to exist right there by the Taman Reset. You can see them. Just go over there and take a look yourself. There's an intersection right here, some ancient intersection. I know it looks like it's shifted. So yeah, tectonic activity. This one here, you can see like, and by the way, I do believe that these black lines were also created unnaturally by some mining activity. So we have several different projects happening. Just like here in Phoenix, and when I say here, I'm not talking about me. Phoenix also had prehistoric irrigation going on. And you can't deny it. They're trying to attribute it to Native Americans, but they're basically looking similar to the Kalahari canals to me. I wanted to go there, but it was so hard to research this. I didn't know where to start. Now, this is the ancient lake bed just north of the Richat structure. And that's what I'm trying to say. There was water. There were canals. I can show them to you. Everything I just showed you is over here, but there's probably an H&C here, probably one down here. And when you talk about the Richat structure itself and the so-called mouth of the Richat structure, you have to understand it's not a very big gap. And it does seem like maybe the Wadan River could have created that gap. But I don't believe that for a second, because to me, this structure is so big and solid, whatever created it was immense, and no Wadan River is going to break through. You can see that brown line is the actual cliff. It's hard to see because you've got a major sand dune on top of it all. You can barely see that cliff, but trust my research, there's just a small gap that separates the entry to the Richat structure. And don't be fooled in thinking water comes out of the Richat structure. That's not true. The Wadan River flows into the Richat structure. Okay? It's not the other way around. Recent LiDAR that I'd love to get my hands on shows a lot more. And like this thing, that plug that Randall Carlson talked about, that I have questions about. I don't know much about it, but it's very curious, right? And then we have this other thing here. I call that the donut, the Semsiot dome. They're not domes, so I can't call it the dome. But this LiDAR picture also has shown us a lot of new lines here, and actually little tiny damming lines right there, here, over here. I've been looking at this line for a long time, and now we're seeing this connection it had between this Wadan River and then this other crevice over here. And I've also suspected that you don't see it clearly here, but the line here is very straight. That's not it. Maybe I'm talking about a little farther over. I drove right through here, and when I looked at it, I couldn't see any of this from the ground. But you can see it very clearly, these ridges here. Lots of agricultural ridges. So we do need more LiDAR in this area. Okay, the Manhattan or Dar or Emir, there's a lot of different names. That's the White Valley. If you want to go camping here, I know the guy that owns this area. He'll be happy to, I guess you have to pay him something. But right here on this edge, you see a lot of straight quarried lines. Now, if you don't know where this is, I'm just going to tell you that the Richat structure is over here to the right. I also, in the Wadan area, found these two large stones covered up, but exposed from some digging. And you can see how they look like they were shaped, but they're underneath everything. So what's underneath here? Some previously shaped stone. Now, I didn't get crazy and start digging up this rock. This is horrible. If you want to move this rock, you're going to have to lift every single rock one at a time. There's no shoveling. There's no scraping. You're going to have to literally lift up the rocks. But I did want to, and you can also see the black, when they talk about the rocks, Plato mentioned red, white. There's the white, there's the red. This oxidation of this white stone causes from water, I believe, an oxidation that turned it red. But then look at this black part. It was exposed to the sun, and then it turned black from all that time in the sun. And then it was covered up. Somebody covered that, man. Here's another shot of a place I've never been. Give me a... Oh, there, thank you. Oh, really? I didn't want to hear that. Thanks, John. Stamos, huh? I'm sorry it's laggy. You're going to have to come back. just navigate away and then come back tomorrow and you can watch the whole thing. Because I'm done with this freaking stream BS. I've been paying a lot of money. Nobody supports me. I pay all my own money. So when it comes to laggy streams, I'm done, okay? And if this turns out to be a crap stream, then I'll delete it. I'm done with all this internet. And apparently it all clears up. It all gets generated just fine later on. So here, this picture is a place I've never been before. Yeah, well, okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop looking at the stream. And I think that uses up... It sucks, man. It really sucks. I've been dealing with... I mean, I've got money, okay? And I've been trying to get the best stream going. And it just sucks. I think I might have to get Starlink. And I really didn't want to do that, but I think I'm going to have to get Starlink. But I don't have a lot of videos to put out anymore. Okay, I've pretty much shown you all my secrets. Okay? There was mining. Okay, like this, I believe this layout here is clearly... I've never been there. I want to go. Somebody's going to show us. You can see these sand dunes up here. So I sometimes wonder about the legitimacy of this picture because I don't really think there's a lot of sand dunes on top of the Adrar. I labeled this the Roman Road. That's what I was told it was called. The Adrar Plateau near the Richat. But when I said, let's go there, they said, well, or where is it? They said, oh, you have to pay this guy to take you there. I'm like, well, we'll see about that. About... Lots of places I want to go. Now this, I finally found the paper said this was a faceted example of faceted megabreccia, implying that it had been quarried and mined. Randall Carlson showed this image when he said there were chert outcrops in this structure being quarried by somebody hundreds and thousands of years ago. So... And then later on he says 1.2 million. I don't think you're going to get many axe heads out of sizes like this. And the fact that there's an elephant in the Piri map reminds us that the Sahara Desert, I've seen the petroglyphs myself, where there were elephants in the Sahara. And before it was a desert, there were not elephants in the Azores. There were not gold in the Azores. By the way, I think this video is gone. This video could still be there, but the one with this guy is gone. I've been searching for it, and I got screenshots of all the freaking video names, so I know. This is back in 2020. Okay, it's literally 2 years, and they're getting into the Richat structure, saying, no, it was not the Atlantis. Okay, but he is willing to admit there were quarry fields there. I went to this quarry field on my last trip, but there's also this other parallel lines that were chiseled out of the ground. Now let's make it clear, it's not the very top of the Adrar. It's off, not the bottom down there by the lake bed, but not the top. This mining, you can still see this everywhere in North America as well. It's hard to get a good shot of this, so I took several shots. Look at those parallel lines. They're going 6 miles across. And over here there's more, but I'm just trying to show you another shot of this perpendicular. This, I had to go through the history. It's right there, 2014 scans, because the 2024 scans, they don't show it like this anymore. They're covering it up. I used to think this was natural. I used to say, wow, look at that, natural. But now I know better. And I can give you a lot of reasons why. I believe this stuff right on top here was placed there later. I think it's like some type of a pay dirt. That's a new word that I started learning. Pay dirt. They pour pay dirt out. This is a lot of different ancient projects. A lot of different ancient quarrying. This is right there north of the Richat structure along the shoreline that I just showed you. This is all the Richat structure. And you can see these quarry scores that were created to start the projects. And this, of course, if you've been following me, I call it the Giant's Quarry, because the rocks are so big. I want to go here. That's a road. That's one car width right there. And you've got these straight lines quarried out, these big, huge boulders. I definitely want to go here. Like, this is the last place I want to go. So that's it. You got to go by camel. I'm going to look at the chat real quick, see if anybody said anything. Stream is really choppy. Starlink no good, I believe you. Matt Burner. YouTube live stream is known to be horrible. Yes, it sucks. But unfortunately, this is the way I'm closing the chat down so it doesn't just, number one, distract me, and number two, slow down everything. Yeah, I think I need to start using StreamYard. But yeah, so this is the quarry fields in the quarry fields in the Adrar plateau, right by the Richat structure. Okay, right up here. Now down here we've got this strange ridge, and I question that because it's very interesting compared to this other ridge that I visited. Have I been here? No, I drove close, but you can't see any of this from the ground. This is holding an oasis in. I believe this was an ancient water wall. My next trip to the Richat structure could still happen in 2024, just letting you know. That water wall is right here, and I think that there was water on both sides of it. Over here, we've got another thing. I've been down here, all these different places. I've been here, I've been there. Look at the score marks. This is the highest point on the Adrar plateau. Over here, on this area, you see this strange lines, right? The highest point has these quarry score lines. I put real lines where I saw one. So those are real lines right there. Who was carving that up? And right next to it, these two mountains, I call them the Twin Peaks. I went there, and the score lines go right through the top. So when you're looking at those two, you can look across and see this other line. But when you look at it here in the topography, it looks like this ridge here was put on top of this plateau right there. So this was placed there. Overburden dumping. Somebody creating water walls. And the parallel canals right there, one on each side of that highest point. I call that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer because the nose of the reindeer is one of the twin bisected peaks. You've got the long wall. There's not really a wall here. That's pretty much sand, but it goes straight across, and then there's a quarry over here. My 50-mile long canals over there off screen, my parallel canals, I walked down one of them. It's all very curious, right? Smoking guns, indeed. And, of course, when I mentioned down over there the wall, we have a photograph of it, and it doesn't look like anything that was naturally put there. Like, what natural process put those blobs there? Okay, again, there's a 50-mile canal that goes right through the Adrar, and it points right at the mouth of the Richat structure. I found that, yeah, and there's even trees in part of it right now. The trees are still in there. That's the very end before it's the open sea. So that's where the trees are right there. And then you've got that natural river. Like if it rains, water's going to go that way. But this is like another 100 miles, so that 50-mile long canal going through the mountains just happens to point right at the mouth of the Richat structure. 50.94. More revelations coming. And kind of going, look, I lined it up. It's going right past that cliff, right through. I kind of feel like there may have been some zigging and zagging over here. But doesn't look like it now. Now, aside from that, and I don't have that in here, that's right there. That goes right through here. I didn't even show that. We've got all these, not the purple. I think those are like, if you're going to drive a car, that's the easiest way to get through. Nice and flat. And you've got rivers that might be going through there. But the red lines are canals cut through the Adrar plateau. And that's what these cuts look like. That's why I'm saying, you know, you can't really say that's natural when they're that straight and they're, about 100 feet wide. The Twin Peaks I showed you up above, they are aligned with other mounds around the world, including Colorado and here in Utah. Look at the alignment of those two mounds. They're all the same on the compass. This is the one I just showed you. That's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Nose. That's the line that bisects it. I drove right there. I need to get those images in here. I should write that down, because if I don't, I'm not going to remember. Let me just put that. Let me just. Whoops! Don't look at that. What's that? Let me just write that down so I don't forget. New tab. Twin Peaks ground image. All right. This is the. Whoops! That's the one from Colorado. And look at the compass right there. And then look at the compass again right there. Again, I mean, they're almost perfectly aligned, these two mounds that were created. Like, we're going to put one here because we got all this overburden dumping. That's what I believe was happening, was they were moving pay dirt, okay, valuable dirt to them, maybe gold, maybe something else. I believe it was gold, pay dirt, and over here, and in the saddle, they were building up a third one. Here in Colorado, this is right next to the Grand Canyon. I believe all these lines around it is some type of ancient mining, quarrying, but the mound left over with the saddle, same alignment. That's in the Grand Canyon. Utah, these two mounds here also align the same way. I believe those things are not natural. And even here, these two mounds in Ship Rock, look at the alignment right there. Almost perfect. You know, who knows how these have decayed over the years. So that could have been a little bit more alternatively correct. And to me, this whole symmetric, and here's a straight ridge. I was right there. I drove right there. This is a long ridge right here. There's this ridge, there's that ridge, and these ridges are going straight between the two mounds. You've got all these ridges over here, this ridge over there. Don't tell me that's natural. Okay, we're almost done. I'm going to check for chats, and we're not seeing any new ones. That's good because of the bad stream. I don't care. What do we have? We've got 11 people watching. Let's do a quick refresh and see if anything pops up. 4 watching now. So I guess the stream is so bad I lost all these people. That's okay. We're almost done. The creation, and by the way, the next video we're going to try it in the morning, and we're going to see how that goes. Probably tomorrow morning. Probably in 8 hours or so. What is it, 10:30? Okay, so if you ask me, I don't think it's a collapsed dome or a, all these volcanic dome talks. I didn't say it's a volcano. You said it's a god. Never mind. I think that there's some type of a electronic, connection there that may have created it. That makes more sense to me. Lightning strike in a car looks very similar. And I think there was some type of a frequency embedded into it. So if we could figure out, like this one right here, D number 2, is really close, right? That's pretty good. I mean, if you look at we got to get the Richat structure up here. The middle shows the 3 quadrants that still exist. I believe there was a 4th that was destroyed, and that's the destruction of Atlantis right there. I think it's an impact crater, not a volcano. A lot of geologists have told me they think that's another volcano in the middle. Now, I went there, okay? I got video of that. I don't believe that it's a volcano. I know what volcanoes look like. And I think if it was a volcano, the mountains wouldn't have disappeared. I believe that these mountains just disappeared. Wouldn't it be more likely I'd created an example of what it would look like if the Richat structure still had that 4th quadrant in the center? We also have a string of pearls thing going on here. Okay, we're almost finished. Last chance for any questions from the 4 of you. I've got one more point I want to make. There's a new structure that was found right there where the arrow's pointing. I believe it was going along parallel to the ancient equator, because when you connect the dots, here, take a look at this line right here. I'll show you. This is connected to that new structure we found. These circles, one circle here in the middle, one little mound. That's like an impact right there, right? We have to measure this. I forgot how wide it is. It's not very wide. If it's over 2 kilometers, there could be a little mound in the middle, right? But we also have another one out here. But in addition to all that, there is some kind of a fissure or canal that goes, and when it gets to the middle, it angles over here. So this is along the ancient equator line that has been shown earlier. I showed it to you. And if you look at Africa up there, you can see the Richat structure is close. Not exactly, it's too close. I usually put a line from the Giza pyramid to Easter Island. You can't put a line around the whole Earth in Google Earth. You can't do it. And here you can see exactly where that goes through. Almost perfectly with the Richat structure, but not quite. No, that line that I showed you is connected to the center, and there's a good shot of that canal going. By the way, it just keeps going and going. That ridge doesn't stop it. It keeps going. And up here it keeps going too. Something created this stuff. Okay, I didn't show you the line, so we're going to go back and something messed up. There's the line I'm talking about from the middle of the Richat structure to the middle of that other thing, whatever that is, the second Richat structure. But it's actually parallel to the ancient equator. And that's it. Okay, I need to get one more shot like that. I'm going to write that down. And there was something here I want to say. Zero Control showed me the rest of the world. Zero Control told me go to other countries like South Africa. Oh, I am Kairos. This is finished. I've got a bad connection. I'm all done. I gave my entire presentation. I was talking about the new circle that we found here. There's a lot of Richat structures out there, not just this one. The only thing is that this one, and the reason why I have to think it's some type of electric universe event like that is because I don't think that when I drove through it, you didn't see the collapsed dome and inflating and deflating and inflating and creating those lines. You saw a one-time event creating all that. And that's why I don't think it was a collapsed dome. A lightning strike in a car with maybe some type of a frequency. Look at D. D is a good one, right? D is really the best choice here. Maybe A. A has some type of similar thing going on. But I think a frequency embedded in some type of a planetary discharge created the Richat structure. Thank you. I am Kairos. For watching my other vids. Laser Ablathon. Is that what you're talking about here? I got to look that up. Let me look that up if that's what you're saying. If you're not saying that, if you're talking about something that I did it with an interview. Yeah, a lot of crazy interviews. I'm trying to, fix the problems. This helped fix problems. Who? Foxcoit. Okay. Yeah, I closed it down. Thank you again, everybody, for your comments. I'm out of here. Y'all have a good night. I'm just trying to get everything right. Thank you. Whoops. No sound.